The private dining room at WeWork rang with the usual symphony of my brother's career triumphs. Another bonus, another title, another excuse for our parents to practically glow with pride over their golden boy. James Walker, the youngest VP in Continental Bank history, decked out in tailored arrogance. I sat at the edge of the table, quietly pushing my salad around, while James basked in the spotlight. "The merger's practically signed," he declared, swirling a glass of overpriced wine. "Once we lock in that tech firm, Continental's digital division will be untouchable." Dad nodded like a proud coach. "That's why you're leading the pack, son, always thinking 2 steps ahead." I held back a smirk. If only they knew about the encrypted email I opened that morning, sent directly to the CEO of Shadow Financial. Me. Not that they'd ever suspect. As far as they knew, I was just running some small-time fintech consultancy. Cute, right? "And you, Sophia?" Mom asked, voice tinged with forced interest. "Any updates on that digital thing you're doing?" "Digital payment solutions," I said calmly. "And yes, we're expanding." James chuckled into his glass. "Expanding from what? That shared desk in a WeWork?" That shared desk was just a decoy, barely more than a forwarding address. My real headquarters took up 3 floors of a financial district tower. But they weren't ready for that truth. Not yet. "Not everything's about office space, James." He let out that smug laugh I'd heard my entire life. "Sure, sis, keep chasing the dream. Meanwhile, some of us are actually making moves." He had no clue about the board meetings I'd been sitting in, the acquisition contracts I'd already signed, the press release scheduled to go live at market open. "Speaking of moves," Dad chimed in, "James mentioned Continental has a few tech openings. Maybe something for you to get your foot in the door?" "I'm good, Dad." I reached for my water. "But thanks." James smirked. "You can't ride the startup train forever. Sooner or later, you've got to join the real world." The real world, as if he understood anything about what I'd built while he was sucking up to senior execs. As if he knew his beloved bank's future was tied to a company he'd never heard of, because I designed it that way. Tomorrow, when the stock market opens, the world would find out that Shadow Financial, the silent giant behind dozens of recent regional bank acquisitions, was mine. And the next name on that list? Continental Bank. James had spent the night bragging about a merger without realizing the buyer was sitting 3 seats away. "I saw your website," he said, flicking through his phone. "Nice branding. But let's be real, you're just a fancy PayPal." Mom placed a hand on my arm. "It's okay to ask for help, honey. James could open some doors." I smiled politely. "I'm exactly where I need to be." James raised an eyebrow. "Right, 32. Hanging out in a co-working space. Maybe scraping 6 figures? Meanwhile, I'm about to ink the biggest deal in Continental history." I glanced at my watch. 15 hours. That's when the truth would hit. The deal he was gloating about? That wasn't him acquiring a startup. It was his bank being acquired by me. "More wine?" the waiter asked. "Absolutely. Put it on my card," James said with a grin, flashing his Continental Bank executive credit card like a badge of honor. Too perfect. That very bank would be rebranded under my company's banner in the morning. The waiter returned minutes later, a careful expression on his face. "I'm sorry, sir, your card was declined." James blinked. "Try it again." The system flagged it due to recent institutional changes. The waiter said smoothly, "Do you have another form of payment?" James's confident smile faltered. "Institutional changes? I'm a VP. There are no changes." I took another sip of water, eyes locked on his. "Oh, James. You'll find out soon enough. I've got it," I told the waiter, catching his eye. He turned to me, and when I handed him my card, sleek, matte black, with only a subtle Shadow Financial logo, his brows lifted just slightly. Recognition clicked. "Of course, Miss Walker," he murmured, low enough that only I could hear. "Your company just acquired his bank." The irony hit like a punchline. In less than 24 hours, every card in James's wallet would technically bear my name. "Don't worry, James," I said softly, sliding my card across the table. "Dinner's on me." The next morning, I was exactly where I belonged, in a glass-walled office on the 52nd floor. City skyline sprawling from Manhattan to Brooklyn. I leaned back in my leather chair as a dozen news channels flickered across a wall of screens, each one counting down to the market opening. My phone buzzed non-stop. First, James, something's off. Emergency board meeting. Might be about the merger. Then, Dad, your brother's about to make history. That's what real success looks like. I smiled, adjusting the cuffs of my sharp Armani blazer. The soft neutrals I wore at family dinners were gone. Today, I dressed like the billion-dollar decision-maker I truly was. My COO, Diana, stepped into the office. Press embargo lifts in 20 minutes. CNBC is prepped for your interview. Final paperwork was signed an hour ago. Continental's board hasn't even informed their execs yet. I nodded. James was likely pacing outside a conference room, clueless that his entire career was seconds from imploding. My assistant buzzed in. Your brother's calling again. Urgently. Not now, I said. We have bigger things to launch. 9:15 a.m. A breaking alert lit up Bloomberg's banner. Breaking, Shadow Financial acquires Continental Bank in $8.2 billion deal. My phone detonated with texts. James, Shadow bought us. What the hell? Dad, your brother's bank just got acquired, can you believe it? Mom, call us. James isn't responding. On CNBC, the anchor's voice cut through. In a surprise move, fintech giant Shadow Financial has announced its acquisition of Continental Bank. But the real headline? The reclusive CEO behind the deal, Sophia Walker, is stepping into the spotlight for the first time. Diana appeared at the door. They're ready for your live segment. I rose, brushed my blazer, and faced the camera. The red light blinked on. Joining us now, Sophia Walker, CEO of Shadow Financial, and one of the youngest billionaires in the industry. Miss Walker, this was an incredible play. I smiled directly into the lens. I knew exactly who was watching. Sometimes the biggest moves are made in silence, I said. We've been building quietly for years. Continental is just the next step. Was it intentional, keeping your identity hidden until now? We let the results speak first. Titles and last names tend to get in the way. My phone vibrated again. James was calling for the 5th time. I could picture him now, confused, furious, and powerless. Then my assistant buzzed through. Miss Walker, your brother is in the lobby. Says it's urgent. Send him up, I said. Have security escort him to my office. Minutes later, the door burst open. James walked in, disheveled, yesterday's suit wrinkled, fury etched across his face. He stopped cold at the sight of the office. The live crews, the Shadow logo everywhere. What the hell is going on? He demanded, voice cracking. I didn't rise. I didn't need to. Hello, James, I said evenly. You're late to your board meeting. He blinked. This can't be real. You, Shadow Financial? That little payment app? I gestured to the soaring stock charts on the screen behind me. It evolved. He sank into a chair, all confidence drained. All this time. I told you to get a real job. I had one, and 12 banks. Continental makes 13. He looked up slowly. Does Dad know? He will in about 10 minutes. The car's picking them up for the press conference. He buried his face in his hands. What happens to me? I lifted a folder from my desk and opened it. We're restructuring the VP role at Continental, but there's an opening in our innovation lab. Junior position. No perks, no privileges, but a shot at rebuilding from the ground up. His eyes flashed. You're demoting me? I'm offering you a chance, I replied. Something no one gave me. And James, this isn't personal. It's just good business. The intercom buzzed. Your parents have arrived, Miss Walker. The moment I'd waited for. Mom and Dad walked in and froze. Cameras, lights, my name on the wall. Headlines glowing across the screens. Sophia, Mom whispered. What is all this? I rose from my seat. This, I gestured to the room. This is what playing with my little startup actually looks like. Diana appeared again. Ms. Walker, the board and media are waiting in the main hall. I turned to James, then to my parents. Let's not keep them waiting. I turned to face them, my family, still reeling. We should make this quick. I said. I have several companies to run. Dad finally found his voice. You're the one who bought Continental? Not me, I said smoothly. Shadow Financial acquired Continental. I just happened to own Shadow Financial, along with 12 other banks. And that little digital platform you all assumed was a side project. James gave a bitter laugh, still slumped in his chair. All those times I offered to help you get a real job. I remember, I said, tapping my tablet. Like last Christmas, when you told me I was wasting my potential, I was finalizing the first Western acquisition that week. Or last month, when you suggested I apply for an entry-level role, I was negotiating to buy your bank. Mom blinked, trying to process. But your apartment, your clothes, the WeWork space. Exactly what you expected to see, I said, unfazed. The WeWork? Just a mail drop. My real office is here. My actual residence? The penthouse at the Harrison. I let the silence hang. Why didn't you say anything? Dad asked. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. Or would you have done what you always did, shrug, downplay it, and remind me that James was the real success story? No one answered. I turned back to James. Have you decided about the innovation department role? You're really going to demote your brother? Dad snapped. No, I said. I'm offering a job to a VP whose digital division underperformed for 6 straight quarters. The fact that he's my brother? Irrelevant. Irrelevant? Mom repeated, stunned. We're family. I stood and walked toward the window, the skyline stretching endlessly beyond the glass. Family, I echoed. Like when James called my company cute at Thanksgiving? Or when you told me at Easter I needed real-world experience? That kind? The intercom buzzed. 5 minutes to press conference, Miss Walker. I turned back to them, calm, grounded, unshakable. I'm heading out to announce the acquisition. You're welcome to attend. Seats are reserved in the front row, but understand this. I looked each of them in the eye. Everything changes today. James sat up. Changes how? No more lectures, no more career advice, no more assumptions about what I'm capable of. I adjusted my blazer. From now on, you'll see exactly who I am and what I've built. Whether you can accept that, that's up to you. And if we can't? Dad asked. Then you'll miss out. I said simply. Shadow is just the beginning. Next month, we go international. After that, our blockchain division launches. Your choice, watch from inside, or from far, far outside. Diana stepped into the doorway. They're ready for you. I paused, one hand on the door. Oh, and James, I said over my shoulder, your executive cards will be deactivated at midnight. Your new ones in the mail. Lower limit. Of course, standard policy for non-executives. The press conference was a storm of flashbulbs and headlines. I delivered the vision, laid out the roadmap, watched our stock climb in real time. In the front row, my family watched the empire I'd built rise above every expectation they ever had for me. That evening, in my penthouse, I reviewed the day's coverage. My phone buzzed. James, I'll take the innovation job. And I'm sorry, for everything. Then another. Dad, we were wrong. So wrong. Can we have dinner this week? Anywhere you choose. I smiled. For years, they'd told me what success looked like. Now they wanted a seat at my table. My reply? Sunday. My place. I'll send the car. And James, bring your new company card. Dinner's on you this time. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right. And letting them pay for the privilege of watching you win.